What's up? My name is Luke Humphries. I am from a bunch of different places, as we just talked about, Wichita, Kansas, or Hot Springs, Arkansas, Dallas, Texas, and play for Prodigy Disc Golf, also sponsored by OTB Discs and Tree Love Disc Golf.
You're listening to the Chain Clankers podcast with your hosts, Quentin Ferris and Horatio Gonzalez. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chain Clankers. Luke, welcome to the podcast. Super excited to have you on the show. As a couple of guys who, one is in Wichita and the other one frequents Wichita and will be up there soon. Super excited to talk to you, get to sit down and have a big conversation with you.
And thank you guys for having me on. It's always a pleasure to sit down with you.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, super excited to have you on. I think this is going to be a great conversation today. We've got some really fun stuff to talk about today. So if you're excited for this interview with Luke, you've definitely seen him before if you're into disc golf and you've been watching GK Pro. They put out some incredible content. We'll definitely talk about that here today. Hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe down below. And let's get into this, Luke, man. Where does disc golf begin for you? When did you first get into disc golf?
Man, my friend Trey Thompson put a disc in my hand in Wichita, Kansas at Oak Park for the first time in like 2013 is probably when it first happened. And I was a ball golfer big time at that point. So I knew about golf, but this was like a different kind of golf for me.
Cool. And then where did that evolve to? I mean, definitely the scene has changed from then to now, but what was that like? What did the disc golf scene look back in the day, 2013?
In 2013, Wichita, Kansas was very relaxed. There was 3 courses in town, Oak Park, Herman, and then that Derby course, Stone Creek or whatever it was. So we didn't have a ton of choices. There wasn't a lot of competition or minis. We call them league rounds or whatever. And that's completely changed. I mean, I go back to Wichita nowadays and it's so involved, so many people in the community. It seems like there's a course going in like every 2 months in the Wichita area. It's really incredible. It's come a long way from when I first started. It's very recreational as I began.
Which is really cool to see, and hopefully we can see this jump in other areas as well. I mean, Andover's getting a course designed by Eric McCabe, so super excited for that. We've already spoken to Logan Harpool and Nolan Ramser, some other guys from the area, so that's really cool. So yeah, seeing Wichita just absolutely blow up as a disc golf destination, I think, and will continue to blow up as a disc golf destination. I think we're going to continue to see great talent coming out of there. Oak finally got some signs going up, so that's awesome to see. And yeah, it's a great spot to be in. I'm excited to be there for sure. But Luke, something I kind of want to explore here for a quick second. You said you were a big-time ball golfer before you got into disc golf. First off, how'd you get into ball golf? And then outside of your buddies kind of putting in a disc in your hand, what kind of made you switch over to disc golf? And I imagine you still are out there on the ball golf course today.
Yeah, definitely am. I figured ball golf out post getting kicked out of K-State the second time. This would have been like 2008 or so. I left K-State in Manhattan and came to Hot Springs, Arkansas, where I started playing a bunch of golf. I had figured out at that point that it was like the hardest sport. I'd played them all in high school or below. I quit baseball early on. Felt like that one was definitely not hard. There was no physical talent really required other than like getting lucky 33% of the time and poking it somewhere out in the field. No offense to anybody who really loves baseball. That's just my take on it. I felt like golf was the hardest, without a doubt. Like if you shot par, you were 1% or better of the people that ever played. So just like, I don't know, a knack for trying to accomplish things and like really get in depth with sports got me into golf. And then it was really Hogan, my dog, that got me into disc golf. Right around the time that I went from Hot Springs back to Wichita to attend WSU, where I eventually got my degree, I got the dog along the way, and I couldn't like go hit balls for a couple hours, then play 18 holes with the dog at the house. It just like weighed on my conscience. So birdies are birdies, and now I can take Hogan on the course, and eventually this is where I got him.
Yeah, I love seeing Hogan on those skins matches you guys do. You pretty much have him trained to where he'll go retrieve your disc, don't you?
Man, that came out of the blue, honestly. He was 6 years old the first time that he went into the water and retrieved a disc. I swear, it's just like randomly one day he decided he knew what he was doing.
See, that's pretty clutch. Now, I made the mistake. My girlfriend and I, we recently got a dog. And the first mistake we did was we went and took her out to one of the baseball fields and, threw like an Ultra Star, I think, for her to just, run around and catch and stuff. And then we tried to take her back out to the course. And after that, she's just like, oh, I got to go get this disc.
Yeah.
So anyone, maybe this can't apply to me because I'm too late, but anyone who's getting a new dog, do you have any tips for maybe their dog not going out and taking the discs or eating them or tearing them up when you bring them out to the course with you?
Yeah, so he was 6 the first time he did it, probably because I killed him of the habit of it early on. I said, no Frisbees whatsoever. Like, these aren't yours. These are ours. Lots of them are really valuable, especially like my friend's old CE plastic and stuff. Like, can't have a dog biting that at all. So we just said no plastic at all to begin with. And he played with balls or whatever it was. I'd say just like separate the two and eventually possibly bring it back in later on is the best bet. But he's got to know that these are ours and he's got other toys. I'm not like a
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not a great by any means. I think I can agree, so take that for whatever it's worth.
So yeah, now it's you and Hogan on the road, but let's go back a little bit. How did you end up there? How did you go from just playing out in Oak, 2013 to where you are now? What does that journey look like for you?
It includes a really crucial move, I think, down to Dallas, where the competition and the level of play was just like next level. I had never seen the leagues really like they did them in Dallas every day of the week. It's just a really serious place when it comes to disc golf, and you see a lot of talent come out of there because of it. So I'd say the move, and then, I'd always tried to master something. It was ball golf for a long time, and it became disc golf. I think at that point there in Dallas, and I played a lot. I was in outside sales for a long time, so I could kind of maneuver my way around the workday and get in 18 holes if I needed to or whatever. It was pretty flexible. So just started spending a ton of time doing that. Eventually, I kind of rose the ranks of the amateur status, and a few of my friends were like, why are you even doing this? I'd been doing it for ball golf reasons. You don't go pro in ball golf unless you're filthy.
Yeah.
You got to be so filthy to go pro in ball golf, and that's the world I came from. So I was just like, I'm not going to go pro in disc golf. This isn't going to be my job. I don't need to take any cash. It's like a couple $100 at this point anyway. So I just kept my AM status, and eventually they were like, go play Worlds. After Worlds, I was like, dang, I guess I should maybe try this a little bit. Like, that worked out better than I thought. And then Pro Discus hit me up, and I drove that bus around in 2019, and that led to Prodigy, and now we're here.
Nice. That's awesome. Was there, I guess you were kind of saying your buddies, but was there any like maybe pros along the way that kind of, I don't know, maybe gave you some advice as you were kind of coming up through the AM side of things that kind of helped you maybe progress or just get better?
Yeah, dude, for sure. Like, so many people that were crucial in the way that I was molded and became what I became. I think that without a doubt, I'm not who I am without friends like Nate Perkins, James Conrad, people early on who, they didn't look at me as just like some AM or some new guy. They looked at me as a buddy and some competition and whatever else. And Perkins, for sure, like the big guy who kind of just like walked me through some of the first initial steps of becoming a pro and just like building a contract and talking to sponsors and talking to manufacturers. And that's all kind of foreign, and it's kind of particular for disc golf. Like, there's not a ton of other industries that act like disc golf acts. So I got to see it firsthand with Nate Perkins, watched him negotiate a contract with Discmania his second or third year there. And then like did the same thing myself a couple months later. So it was fresh in my mind, and he was able to be there with me, living with me at the time. Him and Alyssa were. So just, I was, they say like we're products of our environment. Like, Bill Gates was lucky enough to live by the University of Washington. He'd walk there at night and do his programming when he was like 15, 16 years old. Like, we're all products of lucky breaks that we get. And I was able to be in Dallas at the right time with Emerson Keith, Nate Perkins, Bradley Williams, Miles Seaborn. There's a bunch of really good golf in that area, and I got to see it firsthand and kind of elevate my game to a faster whatever than I could have been.
Yeah. So you were at one point you were, I'm not going to go pro in the sport, and then eventually you did and went to doing it full time. At what point or what, was your mindset where you decided like, I'm going to take this on as my career, or I'm going to take this path?
It's still kind of happening. And it's kind of, even I to this day am shocked by what has happened and where this has evolved to. And I never at the beginning thought it was going to be like this. I really didn't. But what was the question? I feel like I got through.
I guess just when did you decide that this was going to, you said you were doing sales, you were working down in Dallas, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
At what point did you decide, I'm going to leave this behind, I want to pursue this?
And when I think I got the opportunity from Pro Discus originally, I was like, dude, if I don't just like take 1 year right now and just go tour the States and play a little golf, I will regret this forever. So when I was offered a bus and some gas and, a way to get around at the end of the day to make it feasible, that became probably the moment there. And then after that, winning Rookie of the Year, winning an A tier to finish 2019 like I did, it was kind of like a Cinderella finish for the tumultuous season that I had encountered. So that was kind of like a positive finish that like put a smile back on my face and like made me think maybe we could do this again. And each year that goes by, I've seen it and I've heard the pros talk about it. Paul Macbeth and Ricky Wysocki have been touring for years, and their early years weren't top 10s every year or top 10s every tournament. Like if you look at what they did, they started out at the bottom, built confidence, built game. And, those things, you build more confidence, build more game, and now they are who they are. But you got to grind through a couple years of mediocrity and really just wondering if it's the thing for you. I suppose some people know it. Like, I feel like Ezra, I watched him on your guys' show just a little bit ago. That dude seems like he's built for this. Like, it's not as easy for me. I don't feel like, all right, it looks like Noah's pulling in. My driveway is really long, so he's coming down a long way. It's Noah Meitzma.
Yeah, so something that we're actually going to have a little guest star in this show also, potentially. So if you're listening right now, definitely don't click away. Stay tuned. We're going to have some fun here in a sec as well. But something I do want to talk about here real quick, Luke, is going from where you were to then getting sponsored by Prodigy Discs. You talked a little bit about how Nate Perkins was dealing with his deal with Discmania. And this is also something that's interesting to me, is that disc golf is one of the major sports that really keeps a very, very low-key profile about players' contracts. And when I mean that, like we all know Patrick Mahomes has a $13 billion contract, 15 years from the Chiefs. You don't see that so much from the disc golfers. So like, maybe talk a little bit more about how he kind of helped you get that deal with Prodigy, and how did those conversations even start with Prodigy on even thinking about being sponsored and then finally securing the bag?
Yeah, after the Pro Discus year, I had some clout, I guess you could say. I wasn't just like a nobody at that point. I'd won the Rookie, so I had a little bit of bartering. Yeah, with the Pro Discus clout that I had built up, I was able to contact a bunch of manufacturers at that point. I didn't just say Prodigy or, I talked to everybody at the end of the day. And I'd say that's some advice I'd pass along to young people coming up. Don't get so married to one manufacturer. At the end of the day, if you really want to be a part of this game, you got to be a little flexible with the way the way you go, the route that you take. If it's really something that you want to do in the long run, each step that you take is a positive step. So with that in mind, talk to a bunch of people, and Nate Perkins probably opened my eyes to how many different ways you can put perks into your contract. There's social media bonuses that you can get, obviously a bonus schedule for your finishes, but there's a bunch of different ways that you can make profit for you and the company who's supporting you. You know, you can do it as a team, and it's not just like we're gonna make 500 discs with your name on it, and that's what you get, like it used to be. You can get creative with it, and the manufacturers are interested in that as well. So I think that's the number one thing. He kind of came in and pushed around a little bit and got me a better deal, and you know, I think it was better for everybody all parties included.
And was that something every time, you know, you go back to renewing your contract or something like that, you go back and try to see how you can improve on that or what things maybe you can add in?
Yeah, and you look at other people and you kind of see market value. And, you know, I know that people aren't going to publish what they're making, but we do talk to each other. We are aware of, you know, what a guy like us, me, Matt Bell, Noah Meitzma, whoever it may be, what they're worth and what the market value there is.
That's good, and hopefully we continue to see the market value go up. We said this on last episode as well. You know, unfortunately, COVID did a lot of bad in the world, but for disc golf, it did a lot of good. A lot more people have their eyes on disc golf. A lot more plastic is being sold, and where I'm at, I can not find literally any Prodigy anywhere. Hopefully somebody can be getting Prodigy, because I literally cannot find Prodigy anywhere right now. So that is definitely flying off the shelf. I want to get my hands on some and be able to throw that plastic, but I literally can't get it anywhere. So that's really good to see that this plastic is flying off the shelf right now. Do you have any, I mean, I guess let's elaborate here on that just for a quick second. Do you think that, with more eyes going on disc golf, so that we could potentially be seeing bigger contracts for guys like yourself and other guys in the disc golf world?
100%. Contracts are only going up from here. Back in the day when Tiger Woods started getting paid, everybody else started getting paid. And whether you liked him and you stood for what he was bringing to the game, it didn't matter at that point. I mean, I think we're past the point of no return. People are going to start getting paid in this. ESPN's into this. You know, we've got Bushnell into this. We've got big companies who are throwing into disc golf, and that's not going away. You can watch coverage of Pepsi and Pizza Hut and everybody else being down in the 80s and the 90s. And that stuff's on YouTube. You can see it. They were down. We did have them in disc golf, and we lost it. And I just I don't see that happening again.
Yeah, we even saw some stuff with like Arby's this year. And I think that's very smart of them, you know, trying to dip their toes in it to see what the return on that is. But definitely, especially with some of these big tournaments like Haley King, you know, at 20 years old, winning a huge tournament like that, taking that cash, huge 20K, I think that brings a lot of eyes to the sports. And not only people want to see it, but people want to definitely be a part of it.
Yeah, totally. Lee Hogan is pumped about Noah being here.
Oh yeah, we love the dogs. Nice.
It's probably better to let him out too. He's got this weird thing, like he recognizes people and gives each person a different greeting, like based on how well he knows them. And he loves Noah. He's about to woof it up for Noah. Kevin Jones, Paige Pierce, James Conrad probably get the three biggest, other than my parents, dude. Loves my dad. Loses his mind.
Nice. That's awesome to see. That's really good. See, my dog right now is torn between either she's very excited to see you or she's gonna bark and just absolutely lose it at you. There's absolutely no in between.
Nice.
And I swear she's figured out what Horatio drives, because the last time he pulled in, she was right there at the door as soon as you got out and was out there meeting you.
That's the thing. Dogs know
crazy.
That car sound and roll out. Go ahead, Horatio.
Oh, I was gonna say that's crazy because I have like a hybrid, so like it doesn't really make a sound. So.
Yeah, dogs got good hearing for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk. Yeah, go ahead. My bad, Horatio. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna say talking about Hogan again a little bit, talking about just living on the road and van life. How does Hogan do on the road, or just how overall that is like?
Yeah, man, he's pumped to have his friends everywhere that he goes, but he hates the travel. He's not a van person. He stands there next to me actually in the van the entire time. He's just like right here next to me and doesn't sleep. Hates the travel. And we do like 10-hour stretches and he's not sleeping either. Like he's having a bad time. But once we get there and I open up the van door and he sees all the friends that he just left, he's totally cool, including this guy right here.
Nice. What's going on, Noah?
Second, bro. Bushnell hat on. Say what's up.
What
Oh, yeah.
He literally just finished up like
14 hours.
14-hour drive from north of Minneapolis to
30
Hot
minutes
Springs,
north of
Arkansas. 30 minutes north of BRP. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Wow.
To come down to your tournament?
Yes, he is. Yeah. He and Emerson. Is this better?
Yeah,
Sideways?
yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do it halfway, but like maybe that's the maybe we can get Noah and then anyway. Want to sit down? Mix you a drink?
All right, bet.
If you're not watching on YouTube, head over right now. You'll see what's going on right now. YouTube.com/Chain Clankers. What's up, Noah? How we doing, man?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Glad to have you here. Guest star Noah is here. Excited to play in that tournament. I hear it's gonna be cold though.
Dude.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be warm compared to Minnesota. It's like
Yeah.
negative 30 there right now.
Yeah.
Golly.
He's been
I just warmed up
thing.
70 degrees today in the drive with the wind chill.
What?
Crazy.
It's insane that's possible, but you basically drove 14 hours straight south. Yeah.
35 dub.
70-degree change in one day.
Yeah.
Pretty
So it could be worse, Quentin. Worse than
That's true. That's true. I was complaining
0.
earlier that it's going to be like 1 degree here on Sunday in Manhattan, Kansas, and that it's just been like the high of 15 for like the last couple weeks. But that's true. It could be negative 30 all the time. I would absolutely hate to have to live in that. I couldn't do it. So all the power to you, my man.
These crazy people play minis in it too.
Dude, yeah, the ice bowl every year. The coldest ice bowl I played was negative 60 wind chill, and it's just a fundraiser for the food shelf, but it's nuts. It's just like trying to find shelter from the wind and don't even care about your frisbees, how they fly.
I couldn't believe it.
Is that even fun? Or even having a good time? Like, are you just out there just
Mostly it's to hang out and see my buddies I never get to see in the winter and stuff, and it's like it's for charity and things, but the golf itself, you don't get to feel your fingers if you don't have mittens and 10 hand warmers in there. So there's no point, really.
And then you got to like put strings on your discs because of the snow.
Yeah, actually, if you use like powder, like colored chalk that's crushed up and put it on your disc, then the ribbon makes it very understable.
Okay.
So then the chalk you'll like see go into the snow very clearly, like a pink chalk line, like where the disc went in.
That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, because the ribbon is way too unstable. Your disc is like putting a light on it.
It's like addicts think of like the best ideas, and these are disc golf addicts in the freezing cold making it happen. Not losing their favorite plastic.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely something I've been terrified about doing when going out and playing in the snow is losing something that I really don't want to lose. So that's really cool. That's a really good tip. That's cool. Let's talk here real quick. I know a lot of the folk on Instagram want to talk about this, Luke. Let's talk about your involvement in GK Pro and just first off, how the heck did you get involved in that? Where does that origin story come from?
Man, Arkansas opening up disc golf before anybody else is basically what I attribute all of this success in our relationship to is Arkansas deciding along with like Alaska and maybe one other state that they were going to open up nobody else down. So I knew a private course owner. I knew a couple guys at GK Pro. I knew they were Tulsa guys, so they were pretty close to Greenbrier, Arkansas, where this private course is, Persimmon Ridge, the one that we're going to play this weekend. And it kind of just all fell in my lap, dude. We were so bored. I mean, you remember COVID? There was not a single thing on YouTube except for Simon Vlogs and whatever else.
Yeah.
Like people looking for tournament coverage. It was Sahara Desert of YouTube. So we knew we could bring him some coverage. I sat down and called like 100 disc golf companies, I think, or something like that, and got 18 different sponsors. And then OTB, huge shout out to OTB for what they did last year and what they're continuing to do this year for GK. And then personally for me, it's been really awesome to watch their support in disc golf, but they took on the challenge as well with us, and it just like organically was created. Skins became a thing because people were down.
Yeah, that's definitely besides like Joe Mess. That's the other thing, other channel I guess I watch a lot of is those GK skins matches for sure. Do you guys have a lot of those planned for this coming year?
We do. We're going to hit all the big ones like we did last year, starting off hot in Vegas. We've got Nate Sexton, Kevin Jones, Calvin Heinberg, and Ricky Wysocki. right off the bat.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have a little
Golly.
fan vote. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We didn't have Sexton on last year, so looking forward to checking him off the list. And we're gonna figure out some sort of like playoff system or something for skins. We want there to be like an accrual of points to a degree, so that we can do like an end of the year, whatever it is. But we're still figuring out details on that stuff.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. And I mean, hell, we had the greatest shot of 2020, in my opinion, last year on those skins matches when Kevin Jones hit that 530-foot just straight narrow ace, falling down, looking like he tore his ACL or something like that. Luke, I know you saw that in person. Just describe that shot from your eyes.
Dude, I mean, what happened then and there, I can barely remember. You know, it was just like flashes and bits and whatever else. I remember Kev blew his knee out, and then it just stayed in the air.
Yeah.
It just
I
never
know.
came down. Like, people who've thrown that hole, I mean,
It's gnarly.
you can't get a disc to the basket with chain height. It's just like, it's basically impossible. I've never seen it.
Yeah. It'd probably be a long time before we see anything like that again, at least like on purpose.
Dude, yeah,
that
that
kind of
hole's
stuff.
not again. I'll say it right now confidently. There will never be another ace on that hole.
Put that in the record books, folks. Write that down
Dude,
in your
write
little
it down.
journals. I got my little journal right here for these episodes. I'm gonna write it down here in a sec, but write that down. Never again are we gonna see an ace on that hole. And I mean, you very might as well be right, because that literally was an impossible shot. I imagine if Kevin tried to do that, it probably couldn't do that. It was a freak nature event, but yeah, that was really cool. Love watching those GK Pro videos, man. Those guys are really cool. Really, one of my favorite ones that I watched was I want to say it was the Oklahoma Open. The one that Logan Harpool won a couple months ago, something like that. That was really
just a
good.
couple
Yeah.
months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, those were some
He's
really
a
good.
fantastic talent, man. Coming out of Wichita, like you were saying earlier, him and Nolan, there's a bunch of gamers in Wichita, and if there's, you know, if you get gamers like that in a city, it just creates other gamers.
Yeah.
Little kids see it up and close and personal, and they watch Logan throw that forehand, and then all of a sudden they want that forehand, Nolan's backhand. Just like Noah. I mean, this kid's still young, and he's blowing up in Minnesota, and a bunch of people, I'm sure, watching him, trying to become what Noah's got.
We'll have to do our own episode with Noah if you're up for it, man.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah,
Like,
would love to have you on. Real quick,
You're with
though, while I
DGA,
do have
right?
you-
Yes, I did just sign a 2-year contract with DGA in the off season.
Well,
So I'm
talk
pretty
about that.
stoked. I'm probably gonna try to film it in the bag here in the next 3 days while I'm downtown here before my first sanctioned event on Saturday, which I think might be filmed. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
So,
Dude,
my
it's
first
going to be
thing's
so
down.
cold, GK doesn't know if the cameras work. It's that
Oh,
cold.
no.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hopefully we can bring some coverage too, though.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully you guys can. Would love to watch it if it does come out. And yeah, super stoked to hear about that contract extension. One thing I did want to ask you, Noah, while we have you right now, has there been, I asked Luke this question earlier, has there been anyone in Minnesota that has kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say showed you the ropes, but has kind of like helped you along in your journey, kind of getting to you to the point where you're at right now?
Yeah, well, when I first started playing, I just Googled online for disc golf tournaments, and within probably 3 or 4 months, I was at the Airborne Disc Golf Store, Kale LaVisca's old he had a brick and mortar location where they did putting tournaments, little nightly things and just disc sales. Kale was always there chilling, and so that was just a great place to learn originally. And then after 2 or 3 years of playing there, I started playing open tournaments locally with him, and then even on tour. So I've actually spent a lot of time with Kale. And also, one of my old friends, Alex Geisinger, who doesn't really play much anymore. I used to travel with him every weekend to a random C tier or doubles event with Terry Roethlisberger as well. He's one of my original friends from that area.
Terry.
So those crew of guys is the ones that really got me into playing. Danny Polk is one of the Minnesota's best old school players that's just been around forever.
I
He's so
forgot
good.
he's from up there.
Yeah, he gets better as he gets older. He's a crazy human being.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He's nice, tall, and lanky.
Super athletic.
Dude, the guys he just listed right there, that's a sick set of people to learn from and to see up close. I mean, Kale's the smooth master. Geisinger, they say, throws further forehand, backhand than anybody, and that's coming from Eagle.
That's for sure. He throws farther than anyone I've ever seen. I played a match against him 4 or 5 years ago. It was match play, and this hole's 550 left to right, and he throws a hyzer forehand. and parks it. So then I pitched up and threw like a par 4 and played it, and then he spit out for his deuce, and we ended up tying. And then he was so upset that we ended up tying like the rest of the holes. But it's crazy to watch him throw shots like that. No one else can do it.
Yeah. He's huge.
I know a lot of local guys here. I mean, they look up to, like you were talking about, like Logan, knowing those guys. And yourself, I'm sure when you were younger, those pros, those veterans, you wanted to learn from them. I guess some tips that did you just run up to them and say, hey, I want to play with you? Or like, hey, what are you doing? Or like, I want to get better. How did you approach them?
For me, it was a lot of like going to the course and seeing like that they were already there playing, and then just not being afraid to step up and like, but not in like a weird way. You still have to have like the golf etiquette, but show that you're interested in learning on what they're doing. And if they're cool people, they're definitely down to teach you and hang out. So it just a little goes a long way in reaching out to a local pro.
Yeah, it does. And if you can tell that they're willing to put the work in and they're not just like going to ask you something and then go off and fart around, like if they actually care about it and they're really sincerely asking you a question to get better, we're definitely happy to help.
For sure.
Do you guys ever have that happen to you out on the course?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Doesn't stop,
especially in like local Midwest things. But
yeah, it's cool though. That's the position that we put ourselves in. It's the one we wanted at the end of the day. We love people, we love the game, we love watching it grow.
Nice. That's awesome. That's really good to hear. And I imagine another good spot for that would be potentially league night. I imagine both of you guys partake in a good amount of league nights potentially. Has that ever been a big influence in you when you guys were kind of coming up through the ranks?
Dude, big time.
Yeah, definitely. I used to play leagues like every league night. I would be at a league playing somewhere, trying to get better, playing with locals.
Yeah. From the land of the two best leagues ever, period. Like the DFW Metro and the Twin Cities Metro are like in their own upper echelon, I'd say, with the way that they do their leagues and their putt nights. And, there's a handful of breweries in both places that support putt nights and whatever else. It's just like,
yeah, true.
They go hard. And he's got Blue Ribbon Pines who they build up like $5,000 ace pots.
Yeah, they actually Blue Ribbon Pines, Kayla Visca's league too at the Preserve, as well as Kaposia League. There was 3 different leagues that had over a $2,000 ace when I was home. Like, which is just crazy. You can go get a hole in one for over $2,000, 3 different places, like 3 times a week.
Yeah,
sick.
Is it a lot of times the same guy hitting aces? I know around here that's kind of the trend.
Kind of, but the thing is, it's only like 2 holes that you have to film. So like that, I feel like Minnesota kind of started the bonus ace culture, which is like putting an extra $5 for only like a couple specific holes. You had to film them to get the ace.
Yeah.
So like that really has risen for like every league in Minnesota now will kind of do something similar to that just to collect. Because someone be like, oh, it's $100 if you win, but if you get an ace, you get like $2 or $3 grand. You'll get way more people coming to compete. Yeah. Spending money at your course.
And then it's videotaped, so then that goes viral. The videotape of dude hitting for $5 grand, and then more people come, and then it gets bigger, faster, and it's a snowball.
I think we just hacked our way into figuring that out, growing the sport.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah,
well,
shout out to Ray Jordan. He's a legend.
He is. Shouts out.
He's the owner of Blue Ribbon Pines.
Oh, nice. Horatio, I think we might be ready for the ace round if you're ready for it. You got anything else you want to get in before we get to it?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, cool. Let's get into it, guys. So the ace round is the same 5 questions that we like to ask all of our pros that come on and just kind of be able to see how their answers differ. I think we're going to get some really interesting answers here on this one. So let's start with our first question here on the list. You're taking a buddy to go buy their first set of discs. What is the number 1 putter, the number 1 mid, and the number 1 driver you would tell them to get when they're just starting out playing?
No.
Well, you got to go with your beaded steadies in the stone plastic, of course. Straight fire. I just switched to them, and I've never had a putter with so much glide, but also has that consistent loft. I can see why Matt Bell is just smashing with it and won the putting finals online. Yeah. It's just such a good putter. And then the Rift, the DGA Rift, I've never thrown a disc like that either. It's like a glidey buzz. It's like a beat-in buzz right away, and it's just been phenomenal. I can throw it 400 feet, like brand new out of the box, which I've never had a mid be able to do that before. And then the Bonsai. The Bonsai is like kind of like a faster T-Bird in between the T-Bird Thunderbird, what I've been throwing a lot, and that's definitely my favorite go-to DGA driver right now.
There you go. I've seen Matt Bell throw some of those, and yeah, I think they're solid discs for sure. But if I was going to say what you should buy, Go with a P Model S for sure. It's one of the most neutral, just beginner-friendly putters out there from the Prodigy Ace Line lineup. And then I'd go with an M2, my favorite of the mid-ranges. It's very similar to a Buzz or a Rock. It's just a good, straight, trustworthy mid-range. And then probably a fairway driver as well, F5. I'd say, get a lot of glide out of it. Good for any arm speed. That's where I'd go.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Next question here. Your favorite course you have played and the number one on your bucket list to play?
I'd say that the Beast in Finland is my favorite course that I played. Luckily, I did put one good round on it last year, 2 years ago when I was playing the European Open, or else it probably wouldn't be. And the course I haven't played yet, probably I've never been out there and played. I don't even know. You don't know what you haven't played.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, for me, my bucket list would definitely be the Beast. I missed out on my first time going last year with COVID, so I'm pretty bummed about I didn't get to play. Hopefully this year goes through. So it's definitely the highest up on mine. And then probably my favorite course in the States would be either Masters Cup courses, De La Viega, or the Beaver State courses, because they're just that West Coast golf is where it all started. And those are, in my opinion, the best in the area, in the U.S.
Yeah.
That I've played personally.
Concur.
Nice. Awesome. Our third question here we got for you. What is the number one tip you would give yourself if you could go back to when you first started taking disc golf seriously? What would that number one tip that you would tell yourself be?
Oof, probably save all my discs that I ended up just like going to the park and losing around. And like, especially when I started, I had like all the good early like inked up plastic that had no embossments or anything. And I just really wish I kept all that stuff for sure. But that's a lot of disc golfers and CE days and things.
That's a funny one.
That's a good. Haven't heard that one.
Just keep all the old goodies.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, pay for your kids' college with some of that stuff. I'd say start throwing forehand and backhand from like 100 feet and in. Just like get that dialed both ways. Don't even mess around with trying to get super good at one to make up for the other. Just do it. Forehand, backhand. That's how the game's played. If it's left to right, it's a forehand. It's right to left, it's backhand. That's righty. Obviously, different if it's lefty, but that's how our game's played. You shouldn't have a weakness. You shouldn't have a dominance. You should see the hole and play whatever line is appropriate.
Cool. All right. Question number 4. Your favorite memory playing disc golf?
Oof, that's a hard one. So many memories.
You got one of those fat aces at Blue Ribbon?
Yeah, it was like 1,100 or so. It was pretty good.
4 figures. That's a good day. That's a good throw.
Yeah, just a casual 4-figure ace. No big
I
deal.
know. They give out like $5,000 ace spots, so that's why it's so modest about his.
The biggest one was like 8, I think.
Yeah.
Luke, I mean, one of my favorite memories actually was with a tournament when I first met Luke at the Veterans Park Open in like 2016 or so.
Yeah.
It was like 35 mile-an-hour winds like the whole weekend, just stupid, crazy windy.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a hole-in-one with my Firebird on a 430-foot hole and a par 3, which was just crazy. No one aced the whole weekend. I got like a $500 ace pot. Cashed in one of my first 8 years out of state. Like it was just such a good weekend.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Drained like a 70-footer to finish up the hill.
Yeah.
Nasty putt to beat.
I think it was Freeman. You and me and
Joel
Joel Freeman
Freeman
back in the day. And like,
Yeah, it was. That was good.
It was a sweet card.
Yeah, it was. Man, I don't know, probably that first round at Am Worlds, we knew it was going to rain. We woke up that morning, it was just dumping. It had rained 3 inches probably overnight, and I just went out there in my swimsuit and my waterproof shoes, or not waterproof, but like the ones you wear in the water.
Yeah.
Like, ready for it. No towel, no umbrella. And I think I shot like 14 under or something like that, 1060.
Just
It's just
absolutely embraced it.
Yeah, I'd watched Coda Hatfield do it like a year before, and just a pouring rain, just nasty. He just didn't get upset about anything.
Out there
Chill.
looking like Calvin, I want to say it was maybe Calvin on hole 14 at the USDGC, where it's just monsoon season and this man doesn't even know it's raining outside right now and just absolutely ripped it. That's a funny sight to see right there. All right, guys, our last question we got for you today is, what is the number one mistake you see new players making?
Trying to throw those beefy drivers that, whatever, if the Destroyer, the Nuke, or the, Hurricane D1, like, stop trying to throw that stuff right off the bat. It's not good for your game. It's going to make you end up throwing these crazy annies, which will keep your distance from ever becoming what it could be. Because a good distance shot isn't like a crazy annie to begin with, unless it's 70 feet high. We're not talking about Simon Lizotte distance. We're talking about usable distance, like
golf distance.
Get yourself a mid-range and understable fairway. Like, start there. Start with the angles. Watch a bunch of Bradley Williams. That's what I say to do.
Solid choice.
Yeah.
I would say kind of tough. I guess I would say like sticking to a game plan for an AM would be like a really big thing. Because I remember when I was first switching to open, I would be like so hesitant about like, oh man, I want to run all these putts. Like I know I'm a good putter. I'm gonna run 50 footers and all this. And I look back at my round. It's like if I laid up like most of those putts and ran like one that I was really confident in, and then I also stayed in bounds with throwing slower discs, it'd be so easy to shoot like 1,000. Like that's scratch golf. It's just when you go for that 1030 round or to 1050, when you have to make those putts, that's when you really mess up and go to those 960, 980 rated rounds.
Yeah, that's a good point. Stick to your game plan.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's definitely something we've kind of sort of talked about that on some other shows as well, about, deciding to run everything or lay it up. So that's definitely something that was a really interesting note right there, Noah. Luke, Noah, highly appreciate you guys coming on. Little impromptu and Noah jumping in, but really loved it. Where can the guys follow you at on social media, YouTube, and any sponsors you guys want to thank before we get out of here?
I right now I'm just running my Instagram page, which I'm kind of bad at, but I'm starting to slowly put more content on there.
Yeah.
So, it's just Noah Meitzma. You can follow me on there. And I want to thank my sponsors, DGA, Northern Lights Disc Golf, Backstage Organics as well. Some really good quality organic food out of San Francisco, California. So
nice. Yeah. You can follow me on Instagram. I think it's Luke Humphries .dg. That's also like everything else. Luke Humphries on YouTube. Go there. Shout out to Prodigy Discs, OTB Discs, Tree Love. Good looking out, fellas.
Cool, man. Thank you guys so much. Definitely have fun at your tournament. Stay warm. And seriously, no, we'd love to have you on. Have your own hear about your story. See what you're about. Let people know about you. But thank you guys. Thank you, Luke. Next time you're in Wichita, hit us up. We'll definitely play.
We'll do.
Awesome.
Great
Thank
show.
you again, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Chain Clankers podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chain Clankers and hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening to us from so you never miss another episode.